What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 2025 Paddle Awards show. We might go too long, so it might be a two-parter. We'll see how it goes. David, how are you? It's a fun episode, right? To give out some paddle awards.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk about what's been going on throughout the year, but doing all right. How are you? How was Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving was great. I mean, Cornish hens, mac and cheese, collard greens all turned out well. Lions sucked. What can you do? The weather pretty cold, but I enjoyed it. We kind of had some sickness going on in our household too, so it was good that we just kept it really low key and didn't go anywhere because we were not feeling like going. We just wanted to rest, eat, watch football, and relax. So, how was yours?
That was good. I also watched the Lions game.
Mm,
My brother was in town, and him and his wife, they live in Michigan, so they wanted to watch the Lions game, so we had that on.
yeah,
We didn't do Cornish hens, we did a turkey, and
nice.
I think this is like we've kind of realized that turkey, at least in our opinion, requires a lot of effort just to
Mm,
be mediocre. Like even if
yep.
you like we spatchcocked it, brined it, and then we had the temperature probe in and everything. We were basting it, and then it just came out like it was okay. And then like the
Yeah,
steaks came out way better, and they require like
yeah.
so much less effort.
I
But overall,
that's why
still a
we've
fun time.
that's
Yeah.
why we switched because it was like you have to do all this work to make the turkey edible, and then at the end of the day, I mean, you don't really like it that much anyway. So it's like, man, I'm
Yeah.
just doing this for the tradition. So yeah, so Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving out there and got to play some pickleball. I know a few facilities here did Thanksgiving pickleball specials in the morning. I did not partake, but I know they were packed. So always a good time to get together with your family and friends and do stuff. But David, first category of the pickleball. But wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we get to that, a big shout out to all the sponsors of the podcast. Because since we don't have individual segments this week like we usually do, except for the paddle awards, we'll start with Tip Toppers here. David, tell us a little bit about Tip Toppers.
Yep. So this is the hat with the removable figurines at the top. So these clip on, you can snap them on and off. I'll just take this off just as an example, but I've got a little panda here. Jacob's got the astronaut, so you can kind of slide them off, switch over to the left or right side, or you can wear two, but I usually like to just wear one, and then you can snap it back on. There you have it.
Nice, nice. And you can go check that out, tiptoppers.com. Always have the link and the code in the comments, so go check that out. Get yourself, what was it, I think 10, 15%, something like that.
25% actually.
25%. Geez. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Big discount on Tit Toppers. Actually, I should have got a turkey for this. That would have been cool.
Oh
Next
yeah.
Thanksgiving, I'm getting a turkey so I can wear it. Uh, and then next up, big shout out to Centerline Athletics. I've been wearing this to the court pretty much every time I can and wearing it around. It's just so comfortable. They designed this with athletics in mind, so they design it for the fashion, but they make sure this performs on the court, which is what I appreciate. And this is just so lightweight. Is this long sleeve hoodie and warm, and then the t-shirts super breathable and lightweight. Been my favorite athletic wear. I don't know. I think the 40% off is still going to be going on because I know they're going to do Cyber Monday. I don't know when that exactly that ends. I'll put it in the notes, but that's 40% off. Best time to get it right now. And then big shout out to Bodhi Pickleball, who's been a longtime sponsor of the podcast, making some amazing accessories, grips, weights, anything you could want for your pickleball paddle at bodhipickleball.com. And you can use code All Drive No Drop for both of those to save you that money. And then it's TMP 25 for tip toppers, right, David?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So yeah, with all that said, big thank you to all the sponsors. We are going to get into the best value paddle. So, I mean, I think this was easy we're going to start with our nominations and
Yeah.
then we're going to each pick a winner. We didn't want to debate each other on the winner because we can each pick one. So sometimes we will overlap though. David, I think we had the same three nominations, right? We had the
Yeah.
Vsauls, the Kiwanis, and the Lost Cannon, this is the Kung Fu Panda or Dragon Warrior edition. I wish they would have made this white, but pop a little bit more. I think it's hard, right? These are all under 100 or at 100. I think the Quantum might be at 100 with a code.
Mhm.
So great deals. You got two foams. You got a Gen 3. The Quanas are, like, I guess I'll just run through why you would get each one. Quanas, super lightweight, super poppy. You can customize it, right? So for someone that wants to do a lot of that customization, if you like Gen 3s, Buzz Cannon, I mean, I would pick this over a Yola Pro 4 straight up, even without the price consideration. So a lot of people have been liking this, very, very solid. And also,
Also, that's
they
the
have,
only UPA approved one as well on this
oh, yeah,
list.
good. That's a great point. So if you are a aspiring pro on a budget, Buzz Cannon, great option. And then the V-Soles, they have 5 shapes of each one. The Qantas do too. The Buzz Cannon only comes in one. I think they might have a hybrid on the way too, but and then this one has the pros and the powers. Oh man. So you got a lot of options too. It was 10 different options for this one. Um, so which one did you pick as your best value paddle of the year, David?
For me, this was actually pretty tough. Panning came in pretty hot. Like last year, that $100 price point was just going to be for mostly Gen 2s. And then now it was like, okay, I thought it was just going to be a Gen 3 that was going to hit $100. But then
Mm-hmm.
foam started going to 100. I think Vatic and then, Rhombus coming in really dropped that price point down. So I took Luz out of consideration for the top one. Like it was a good nomination, but just
Yep.
because I guess, technology's kind of advanced a bit more and that people are looking for that more durable core. So I thought like it has to be a foam one. So then it's between the Quantas and the V-Soles. The Qantas did come first, but I went with the VSOL Pro for this one. I personally like this one better, and I just think it's better for overall more people. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Quantas are for like more hardcore people. Either you want it really light or if you want to customize it more. But I think the VSOL Pros are just like for the majority of people, like I want a $100 power paddle with that has a foam core. Like that's just the easier recommendation. So I went with the VSOL Pros.
Yeah, I also chose the VSOL Pros. Funny enough, I'm holding a power, but I just couldn't find the Pro. The Pro is the blue one. Actually, is it on the wall? There you go. I have one on the wall, but
Oh,
I
I have it in my
apparently couldn't
bag.
see it.
I was
There you
just
go.
using it.
Yeah. So the
Oh,
VSOL
that's a
Pro,
bad dust pattern.
it's 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 just so good. And then like if you wanted something, the Pro is a little stiffer, and then the Power is softer. So if you wanted something softer, you go with the Power. I will say, if you're looking to get something, you're like, hey, my kid really needs something lightweight, or you just need something lightweight in general, then that Quana R2 is the one I would pick because it's just so light
Mhm.
and still playable stock if you really needed to. So that would be my one thing. But yeah, only could be one winner. So VSOL Pro takes it
Yeah.
for the best value paddle of the year. All right. So next up, a fun category for some, not fun for the winner, I guess.
Yeah.
But the biggest flop of the year. I just wanted to get it started. I didn't want to bury the biggest flop. I just want to get it going. David, what nominations did you have for the biggest flop?
Um, I had the Carbon Waves,
Okay.
and then I had the J4K from Honolulu Pickleball Company,
Yep.
and then I put the Adidas on here, but this is a tough one for me to say because I never hit it, but it was
Okay.
based on what I've seen from the
Just the
feedback. Like,
feedback that yeah.
yeah, because it was. I think they had a big event for it, and it was kind of hyped up a lot. Um, so because of that, like I didn't put Adidas on there, or like I didn't like I've had it as a nomination, so I figured someone else might have like considered that. But what were your nominations?
Yeah, so same thing. I had the J4K, the Waves. Uh, I I I think the Adidas, I guess, could be on there for me. I don't know for sure if I would have put it on there. And then the Diadem Blue Cores, the first one's not the Blue
Mm,
Core Edge. I think the Diadem Blue Cores were. Oh, did I say the Rhombus Ripples too?
you didn't say the ripples yet.
Yeah, the Rhombus Ripples as well. So I guess J4K was more of like, the J4K was just, it wasn't really, I guess, that big of a flop because it wasn't really that important, right? It's just a
That's
single
fair,
shape
yeah.
that we kind of make fun of. So I think for me, it's between the Rhombus Ripples, the Diadem Blue Cores, or the Carbon Waves, because these were like big launches, right? I
Yeah,
think
that's
these
fair.
were, and the J4K is just kind of like, it wasn't their big launch. It was just like they're throwing shapes at the wall. So I was like, but I still put it on there. um, But for me, the winner for this one, for my biggest flop of the year, would be the rhombus ripples, just because of all the build up, all of the controversy that has gone into it. It just, it was a lot. I mean, like, that's not the ripple, that's the pun. But all the stuff that we went through with the ripples, you had like 3 different betas, and then you finally had the launch, and they're just so heavy, and they're just not the same feeling, and they're too high swing weight. And you know what? Just like a couple months later, they come out with the Quanta and the refoams, and then it's just like, okay, refoams and the Quanta and the ripples don't matter anymore. So for me, it's the ripples, just because I was the most invested in that, like, just everything. Um, and then like the blue cores were a pretty big. That would have been my second, because that was a pretty big flop too. But yeah, Ripple gets the biggest flop of the year for me.
Gotcha.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, yeah, I totally forgot about the blue cores. When you put the blue cores on the list, I thought you were talking about the blue core edge. So I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
that actually wasn't that bad. But then when you're talking about the original one, then yeah, I would agree putting that one on the list, especially
Right here.
because yeah, they knew what it was going up against. I forgot there were two other big releases at that time, and they delayed their release, or I don't know if they pushed it up, but they like launched the same day as two other releases that were like way better than the Blue Cores and basically overshadowed it. And I don't know, they thought that
Yeah.
they could go against it, but they, obviously couldn't. Um, the Waves was actually one I had under consideration, mainly
Okay.
because they had us all on that call, and the way they described it made it sound like a really exciting paddle. And, you know, right after that call, I took the paddle out, I hit it, and I was just very underwhelmed by it. I don't know if you saw it, but like some people were saying like we may have like duds and like some of the newer ones played differently, but I don't know too much about that.
I
But yeah, my biggest flaw, I'm going for the J4K. Like I know
Okay.
it wasn't like hyped up, but it was just like it was a release that just didn't make any sense. Like
Gotcha.
you already had the J3. Like if you already need more stability than a J3, like you just need to drill more. You don't need a different shape with more stability. Like at that point, like if you need more stability, like honestly, you're kind of just bad. Like you
I
do not
got
need
you.
a J4 shape.
This
And
shape offended you personally.
yeah, it's just like, and then now Proton comes out with like the Peacock, which I think is the same shape too. Um,
All right. So
or
you
like
want
like
Peacock to get the co-winner with that?
it could, but I didn't. Yeah, I don't. It feels weird for me to like put something on the list that it didn't hit. But
Okay.
yeah, the
Okay.
J4K was just like, even
All
though
right.
it wasn't hyped up, it was just. I don't think I've ever seen one in the wild. I don't think anyone ever bought it, and I don't think like anyone ever will buy this paddle. So I just think it's a paddle that came out that actually like just went and faded out of existence.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they did. They might have discontinued the shape, so they moved on pretty fast. And
Yeah,
I know, I know they won't lose any sleep over that. They've had some interesting shapes in the past.
yeah.
So yep. Okay. Moving on, we're gonna go to the most improved company. So we kind of went with a downer. Well, it was kind of fun though. Now we're gonna go with an upper. Uh, this is this one might kind of contradict one of the later ones with best new company, because I gave it this might have been around longer, but we do have most improved company nominations. We have Luz, Pickleball, Selkirk, Bread and Butter, and Body Helix. Um, and I did I guess I put in that Bread and Butter nomination, and I guess I was thinking, I was like, I guess they weren't really like improved because they were already so successful. It was more like they had their first performance paddle. So I don't think I can say they won for me. I just thought like, hey, they improved a lot, right? So
Mm.
I was just giving them a shout out. Selkirk, I mean, they had the one, I mean, they had the era, which was pretty, it still
The
is
airs
good. I
are
see it
good.
quite.
Yeah,
I still see a lot of eras out there, and then the
yeah.
boomstick obviously has been a big success. I've seen a ton of people with those. Biggest problem with that, edge guard, coming apart still. Some people still having problems with it. People I speak to have had to most have had to warranty theirs that are big hitters. So still a big problem. Uh, Body Helix did a lot of cool stuff this year. I really enjoyed their sandbox program, where they just went through a whole bunch of different development, and they kept iterating and coming out with new stuff, and they're doing stuff that other people weren't doing. They had a huge success with the Flick, Terracore, and then And then you tell me about Luz, because apparently I thought they were a new company this year. So why my new company of the year nomination might not coincide with this nomination.
Yeah, Lust has actually been around for a while. I've actually worked with them for maybe a year now because they've
Okay.
actually been around, and I think just a lot of people just don't know that because they haven't really released anything. But yeah, they have been around. They just didn't really make any performance paddles back then. They
Okay.
mainly just had like Gen 2 clones.
Got you. So that makes sense with the Inferno and the Cannon and the Tornado. That's why they get the most improved company for the year for you.
Yeah, considered Selkirk, but then I guess technology wise, it didn't really do anything too exciting.
Okay.
I think the era was just really similar to the powers. I don't know which one really came out, came up with the idea of like
Yeah.
doing the single like foam ring, and the moveset was still like really good too. And there's that whole controversy of like the whatever the MOI tuning weights, like if they're even allowed in pro play. So that one was like, if Selkirk was really close to it, but I think I just had to give it to Luz because for them, they were honestly obscure in 2024. Like you didn't even know they existed. And I think that just kind of goes to show like they've kind of blown up on the scene. But to be fair, like nobody knew Luz existed. Like they
Yep.
had all these Gen 2 clones, and then they actually had a clone of the Apes Pulse paddles.
Oh, really?
They had this whole line of like paddles that were really similar to the Pulse series and like really stable, but just like no one really knew they existed. They actually even have Paddletech Bantam TKO clones.
Oh,
They had this whole lineup that just people didn't know about. But then like once the Cannon got popular and once the Inferno got popular, like that's when they kind of blew up. So they've kind
gotcha.
of slowly and steadily been like improving,
Yeah.
and this is the year they really made a big scene.
Yeah. Well. Speaking of Luz, we might have an interview lined up in January with them. So
Okay.
if anyone has questions for that, drop it in the comments because we might be getting an interview with someone pretty high up at Luz Pickleball, which I think a lot of people would find interesting.
Okay.
So,
I'm excited.
all right, and my pick was Body Helix. I think they just did a great job with all of their technology inventions and continuing to innovate. And I really like their sandbox program where they let people join in on the testing for cheaper. Like obviously Selkirk, I guess Labs is supposed to be for helping develop, but like they charge you $333 to become part of the process, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
So I really like what Body Helix has done there. So I gave them the most improved company for me.
Yeah, that's something
Uh,
fair. I think they've definitely done a lot more than they have like last year because they've also been around maybe since like 2023, I want to say.
okay.
Um, they had some like Gen 2 clones and then they had some like Pro Drive clones as like their first few paddles, but then yeah, definitely made a big splash this year.
Whatever happened to Pro Drive? I
I don't know.
I should say, I guess we'll give it most improved company to Flick Pickleball because they are changing their name from Body Helix to Flick for all paddles.
Yeah.
So we'll give most improved for Flick Pickleball and Luz Pickleball, two great companies. Next up, we're going to best design, which I think we both struggled with because a lot of these paddles are just kind of black, and then I guess you would say it's the year of the uh, gradient edge guard. That's kind of like the main design
Yeah.
trend that we've seen, which is whatever. So best design. What was your nomination, David? Did you
Yeah, this
come
was a
up?
hard one. I think I came up with this one right before, and the only reason I chose this because I thought it was like more of the unique one. So I'm going with the Pickleball Apes Charm paddles,
Ooh,
just
okay.
because they just kind of that orange edge guard, very like no one really has done that, and the shape or not the shape, the color and everything is just it looks nice, and I just think it's more unique. So I just going to give it to the Apes Charm.
I like it. I wanted to give an honorable mention to all the limited designs that Vatic Pro does. I think those are really cool. I think they should
Yeah.
sell it on their main line. I had like a 30-minute conversation earlier with a friend about this. That's how passionate I am about it. But they have really cool limited designs. They don't sell it as a main design, so I can't give it to the award. I think all the C45s from Franklin, I love these, like, I don't, what would you call this? The shiny edge guards.
It's
They
like
have
metallic.
yeah, metallic green, red. They have a purple when they had the Paris Tide. I think these just look so good. Like you see these on the shelf, it makes you want them. So I give it to the C45 lineup. Really enjoy it, and they match the the grip with the edge guard. So I thought those looked sweet. I don't think anyone has ever done it like that. Maybe they'll do gold. That would be a good one. Anyway, so that was mine pick. Drop it in the comments if you disagree or if you agree. Worst design. I swore I got this paddle, but we nominated. So this was just worst like graphics, not worst
Yeah,
like
like worst
paddle
look.
construction.
Yeah.
Worst design. I nominated the Yola Pro 4s, which I thought were like pretty like just for a big company. I just thought it was kind of bad. I would say actually the Agassi was my favorite of the designs, but like the other ones, the Perseus and the other ones that had just like the lines, I thought that it wasn't the best design. But we've both picked the Honolulu J4K. We won't beat around the bush there. I swore I had the J4K, but basically just a super wide paddle, just doesn't look good, and uh, unfortunately got the biggest flop in worst design from David. So you know, ouch.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say. I guess I don't really dislike the Pro 4. I don't think it's exciting, but
Okay.
I think it's just kind of basic looking. But the J4K is just, people make fun of the
Rough.
Apollo, but then the J4K just kind of, made it a bit worse. And so unfortunately, it had to be J4K for me.
All right. Let's not much else on there, but let's go on to the best new company, which I don't know if I'll have to. I put Les Pickleball down as a nomination, and I don't know if I should change it, but I'm not gonna change it because I already put it down. Uh, and then we have what else we have for our nominations here: Enhanced Pickleball, Sipic, and Gherkin. Uh, Gherkin might have came out 2024, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we both may have just put in some like random. I think Cypic's technically the only new one.
It doesn't matter. They're if it's new to us, it's new. I mean, maybe like 20 people knew about it. Uh, who'd you pick for the best new company this year?
Yeah, I said enhance.
Okay.
I feel like I may have also kind of squeezed it in as like improved brand in this one, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm going with enhance. They didn't. I guess as a company, they're definitely not new, just because they have been coming out with
Yeah.
those training videos,
New to the
and
paddles.
yeah, new to the paddles. And then I forgot when they came out with like the Sweet Spot Pro and the Banger. It might have been like earlier this year, I want to say. But yeah, once they came out with the 4.5, that was when they started going more in like the performance realm. And then the Duo was like a really big surprise to me. Their first like performance power paddle. So for me, out of the brands we listed, which technically may not be like new brands, like for me, it was a big improvement and big new splash from them.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. I mean, I picked was. I think enhanced definitely would have been my second choice. And big shout out to the Sipic. I think they just don't have enough representation here yet. Just it's
Yeah.
hard to get the paddles still. Gherkin doesn't have a foam paddle yet. They do seem like they'll have one soon, but yeah, for me it was Luz. They're new to me, so I'm giving it to them. I think coming in with the bangers that they had this year. So Luz Pickleball, Enhanced Pickleball, for our best new companies. So shout out to them. Next up, we have the best Gen 3. I saw a lot of comments about people, like in the when we're talking about the what do you say the categories, and people wanted to make sure we didn't forget about the Gen 3s. So we're going to give you
Mhm.
our best Gen 3. And I think that obviously you have Yola Pro 4s, you have the Cypics, or sorry, not the Cypics, Yola Pro 4s, Thrive Furies, the Phoenixes, RPM, the Les Cannon. What went into your mind when making this decision, David? What would you end up choosing, and did I miss anything there?
I think another one who I probably would have considered would have been the Gherkin Wraiths. It's
Okay.
another Gen
Yep.
3, and uh, I just kind of thought of it like, what's like a performance Gen 3 that I can see like a pro player using, and or like a high level player. And for me, like the Pro 4 is still that like one paddle that everyone's still trying to chase. And I think that's still like that paddle of 2025. That's like the most of I've seen people use. But for me, I'm going with a Thrive Fury for this one. I would say like if I had to take a Gen 3 into a tournament, it would be the Thrive Fury series. I would probably wouldn't take the Pro 4, like even if the price was the same. I personally like the Fury a bit better. Also just, being able to control the swing weight, like if that's something you care about and overall I just like the feel of the Furies over the Pro 4s.
I hear you. I do enjoy the Furies over the Pro 4s as well. I just ended up liking the Luz Cannon a little bit more. And I know
Mm.
it's like pretty close to a Pro 4, but for whatever reason, that's just what I played best with. So for me, pick the Luz Cannon. For my best Gen 3 of the year, and you picked the Thrive Fury hybrid or elongated? Or
I'll
just the
go
series?
elongated on this one, but
Elongated? Okay.
but minute is like a series.
That makes sense. So yeah, Thrive has had some good stuff. Hopefully they'll come out with a foam one here soon. We'll see. And then most innovative. So you just have. I mean, I guess Carbon was one of the. I would we say they are the first one to come out with foam then? I
I
mean, they had the
believe so,
first foam
yeah.
paddle, so I guess we'll say they invented it. So you have Carbon with their foam, and different, holes in the system. You have the 6-0 Diamond Tough. You have the Honolulu with the notch foam, and then you have the GX2 Power with like, the ribs in the foam.
Mm.
Who did you decide as your winner here?
I went with Carbon, with like being like the first foam paddle. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
kicked off the whole thing for 2025. They may not have done foam paddles the best, but I do think I need to give props to them for being the first to do it and kind of starting the whole trend. The Honolulu notch was only really relevant because Carbon, started off.
Yeah.
GX2 Power was like one I definitely considered as well. I think it was really close, but I think Carbon made a bit more of an impact. And then as for Grit, I think at this time it's hard to say like whether or not like that Diamond Tough or even if Infinigrit really is like true. But even if it is, I think it feels like people don't really care too much about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people just are chasing like performance and even if someone does come out with grit durability, I think people are still just gonna go with the paddle that they like over like one paddle that can last that has a lot of grit on it. So I think it's a nice touch, but I think right now in this market, consumers don't care too much about grit durability from what I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I think there's definitely a hardcore group that they do really care, but the majority just seem like, yeah, whatever, okay. But it's only on one paddle, so like if I don't want that paddle, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So
If it was on like
I
multiple paddles, it's different. But if it's just on that
yeah,
one, that's tough.
yeah. I think most people will have it in the future. I agree with you. I'd give it to Carbon as well. They were the first to the market with the foam. They really did have a lot of success. Like, what is it, like February, March or something? Like, there were so many Carbon True Foam Genesis on the court. So, and I mean, they pretty much inspired everyone to switch to foam this year. So, shout
Yeah.
out to them. Uh, they just kind of got stuck to like their style of foam. They didn't want to change what they were doing, and they just, you know, they're really stuck on the patterns, the holes in the paddle making the difference when it doesn't seem like that's as big of a deal as which foams you actually use. So,
Hmm.
all right. Now we're going on to the best pickleball paddle. It's kind of our personal favorite. So this isn't the paddle of the year. The paddle of the year is more what paddle garnered the most attention from the year, was the most talked about, maybe the most played. But this paddle of the year, or this best pickleball paddle, is just our favorite paddle, pretty much. I guess right now, right? Like, or
Yeah, I think right
or
now.
yeah, or throughout the year, but more so now. Obviously, there's always going to be a little bias towards the end of the year, right? Because it's like that's what you're using most recently. So, I mean, David, what'd you consider for your best paddle? Anything from the first half of the year even make a nomination on the list?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I think for me, it was just the way I did this decision was like what I would take to a tournament and like what I'm using right now. And my favorite of like when I picked it up, I really enjoyed it. And so for me, this is going to be go to the Loco series. Not a particular shape. I think right now I've been leaning more towards the standard shape just because
Okay.
um, I haven't been drilling or playing enough to be like as consistent as I want with the elongated one. But I'm getting used to the feel of the Locos again, so I really liking the standard. But overall, I just really like this paddle. It's just I really like the feel of having that fiberglass in the middle. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of the other paddles I've liked before, like the Core Super Court and even the 11624 powers, I've always liked that feel of having that fiberglass layer in there. It just takes me a bit time to control, but for me, like of 2025, like I've knew I was gonna pick a foam paddle, and of all of them, like the Locos are my favorite one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like for me, foam has just been that's what I preferred. So that's been for me. Loco, especially the hybrid, definitely high up on my list. And the boom I put down the boomstick as well, just because it like that might be more for like paddle of the year nomination. But yeah, Loco, J2NF were two of my longest mains this year, but this one has overtaken it for me. This enhanced duo is my paddle, best pickleball paddle right now. Like that's what I'm playing. That's what I'm bringing to the tournament next weekend, and I've been loving it. Just how much power you can generate with it, but still have some of the better touch for a power paddle. That's been what I've preferred, and I just play the best with. So for me, that's what we got.
Are you bringing it with those slice cap thingies on the side?
Yeah, so I just got these in the mail, maybe, I don't know, a couple of days ago, the 5 grams, and I've been playing with it. I mean, it does make it, slightly head heavier, obviously, with that concentrated weight. Still not 100% sure if I like that or not, but I've played well with it, so I think I'm going to leave them on for now. But don't worry, I will bring the tool to remove them if I need to. And I have not had any worries. I've played probably like 8 hours with them, no movement on them at all, so I'm not worried about them flying off. So that's good, I guess, for my opponents. No worries for me though, right?
Or me?
Or a little bit worried for David there. David's like, "Can you just take those off and put some tape on there so I don't get hit?"
Is it
But
actually allowed for tournament play? I forget.
I thought it was, but I don't know. Good luck to all the people we're playing against knowing that rule, because I bet you don't. No, I'll have to check. I thought he said that they are, but who knows? Uh, I don't know. All right, moving on to paddle trend of the year, which kind of this one kind of writes itself, right? I mean, you have all these foam paddles, so that's kind of the trend of the year is foam. But
Yeah.
I went specific with mine and put the EVA plus EPP foam combo was my trend of the year, and David said just foam.
With
So
two
I mean,
M's in the
he
spreadsheet.
did put two
Yeah.
M's in the foam. So I mean, I don't really know what that means. But it's like foam.
Foam. Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
2020
I mean,
foam.
there's no other choice. It's just foam is the trend of the year. There's nothing else. People forgot about Kevlar. They forgot about titanium. Like it doesn't matter if your paddle wasn't foam this year. You kind of fizzled out basically.
Yeah.
So anything else on that, David, or is it that
No,
cut
I
and
think
dry?
it's
Okay.
just foam.
Okay. Yeah. Next up, best bang for your buck bag, which I don't think we did anything about bags last year, but there's been a lot of bags this year, and so probably try the most different bags I've ever tried this year. For best bang for your buck, I mean, I think I think we actually only have one nomination. It's the Neonic Sidekick, which is $100. I don't know if it's even cheaper right now with the code. Oh, you got yours, great. So this thing's just great. I mean, like it expands, it's premium quality, it's big enough to fit pretty much all your stuff. I mean, it's got a lot of different pockets, which I love. So yeah, the Nyonic Sidekick, they didn't come out with a new paddle this year, but they came out, or I guess they did. They did come out with a new paddle, but they've been a little dormant. But they came out with a killer bag, so Yeah, the Neonic
If
Sidekick,
they had
great
come out
bag
with
there.
some paddles this year, they might have won best design because they won it for me last year.
Man, it is sad. It's sad to see. They just couldn't come out with the paddle at the end of the year. But yeah, sweet bag. So great job on them. Uh, moving on to bag of the year. So this one just taking price out of consideration. And this one was kind of hard for me because I've went through a few different bags this year, and I'm still always rotating my bag anyway. We had the ADV Flex bag as a nomination, and I've used the ADV Pro bag, the Court Ranger, the Franklin Tour bag. What did you end up picking, David, and why?
I went with the ADB Flex. I
Okay.
think when you use this side by side with like the Neonic Sidekick, this is just it's like, you can actually feel the difference in the quality. Like a lot of times with paddles, it's you kind of just like the price doesn't necessarily mean performance, but in this case, it's like this is more than double the price of the Neonic Sidekick, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it's noticeably like a better quality bag. Like water bottle holders are so much better, the shoe holder is better, and just everything about this is just screams like more premium. It is on the pricier side, but I've been using this for more than just pickleball. Like, I actually use this for work, and then you'll be seeing me with this next weekend because this is my travel bag. It actually fits under the seat on the
Nice.
airplane, so it's like one of those bags that I can kind of just take anywhere. And also, if I don't need to bring like too many paddles, like I think at max, if I want to zip everything up, I can bring 5 paddles, which is still more than enough. Like I honestly shouldn't be bringing that many to like play for like a
Yeah.
few hours, but for what it is, that's my favorite bag right now.
Yeah. And that I think from what I've seen, most people the max they carry is 3, but usually it's like 2 or less. So obviously we're in a different class for how many paddles
Yeah.
we're bringing. I picked the Forward Ranger, so I've used this for like bringing stuff to work, and if I'm going to pickleball after or whatever. I think there's actually a great sale on this right now too. It's like 110. Usually it's like 180. Probably goes lower with the code, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is just another premium one. Love that you have this bottom where you can like stand it up. I hate when the bag just flops down on you.
Yeah.
One of the most annoying things, but just a premium quality bag. Ford's bags are definitely a little pricier than other bags, but like you were saying with the ADV, like those are the same thing where they're a little pricier, but the quality is, you can tell like that's a lot better quality. So you are paying for the quality, and the bags will probably last a lot longer. Like anything I've had from Forward has not broken. Like nothing's broken on the bag, and I'm not exactly gentle with them. Like I'll throw it around, and so great stuff there. I think you could really go with any of those bags. If they did, I would say if you want like the biggest bag, and you just want the most space. I can't remember how much that Franklin Pro Tour bag is, but it's just like, it's not anything special, but it does have a ton of room. So
Mhm.
if you're looking for like just a giant bag and you want to fit a whole bunch of stuff and not keep organized, that
No,
would be
for
it.
me, that is the Vatic Pro $50 bag. It's just
Oh,
one
is
giant
that pretty
compartment.
big?
Yeah, it I can fit like 10 paddles in there. That thing is
Gotcha.
just massive, and it, it just it's so cheap though. Like there's no additional features to it. Like I don't even know if there is like a really small water bottle holder, but like everything about it is just like, oh, if you just want like one bag with one giant compartment, like that's your go-to.
Gotcha. Next up, we have the best Dwelly power paddle. So I just kind of made this as a category because I people always ask about Dwell, and this actually coincides with it being softer as well than a lot of the power paddles. So for those of you that like soft dwelly paddles, but you want a power paddle, I guess there's really one main option. I did nominate the 6-0 Black Opal, but I'm not really sure what's going on with that. It sounds like the new production version's not as soft in dwelly, but I don't know. I haven't hit it, so I don't know. But we both went with the Gearbox GX2 Power,
Yeah.
which is just, man, this paddle actually, contended to be my main for a little bit there too. It's just a very fun paddle. It, I mean, if you don't want any like harsh vibration and you like that softer feel, this is it. It really is. it takes a little bit of time to get used to controlling it, but like once you get in tune with this paddle, I don't think it's too hard to manage. I think it's pretty solid. Uh, anything else, David? Like, what is that? Was there any other paddles that contended for you on this category?
Yeah, if it was just like paddles of Dwell, like then we could have
Hmm.
put like the waves or the charm on there.
Hmm.
But just because it was like also with power too, it was basically the only one I could also think of was the jig suit power. But that's still a really good paddle though. So it's like it conveniently was the only one that fit in the category, but was also just it still is a good performance paddle.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the most underrated brand, pickleball brand out there. What this? I guess this was. I don't know if we had this last year, but I just was like, you know what? Sounds like a good category. I think maybe someone suggested it. What went into your decision for this one, David? Like, who were you thinking about for the most underrated?
Yeah, just like paddles that people don't really talk about, but I think still have good performance paddles. So, see the nominations we have. We had Chorus on there, which has always been like a really solid brand. Not really often talked about a lot, but always
Hmm.
had like good performance paddles. And Revelin is another one that I think is very underrated. Um, they're US made and their paddles are more on the unique side, but it's just they're very much like you either love the paddles or you hate them just because the feels are like completely different. But they are like, environmentally friendly, really solid company. And last one I put on the list was Gherkin. They've always had these like budget paddles that they've had, and then they've also had paddles that like where they experimented a bit more. Like, they had the was like the silicone edge guards, and then this year
Hmm.
they experimented more with like the nightshades and the wraiths and the untitled. So for me, I went with Gherkin. I think they're they're not as talked about as Chorus, and I would place them maybe just like a tad under Chorus in terms of like performance and like offerings, but I think they're just like a company that isn't talked about as much, and I think they should be.
That's fair. Yeah, I chose Chorus, but I could definitely see Gherkin as well. I think they're like very similar. They're both companies that have had really solid offerings, and for just one reason or the other, they haven't been able to gain as much traction as other companies. But they keep pumping out really good offerings for great prices, and I'm hoping that they'll continue and stick around because I like that they're bringing different aspects, and they're thinking a little differently. So I hope that they will be here in 2026, giving us some cool stuff to see. All right. Biggest surprise of the year. So I think this is probably a category that could be very different for different people, right? Like maybe some things don't shock you as much as they shocked us, or we're shocked and you're shocked. But I, our nominations here are Luz Pickleball, just coming out with all these bangers, the Selkirk Boomstick, and the Bread and Butter Loco. I think all these were pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Luz coming out of left field, like no one saw that. Now, dude, I'm bewildered how many Luz pickleball paddles I see at my facility. Like it's crazy. I see cannons, I see infernos, and I'm just like, huh, y'all are watching YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the Selkirk boomstick, obviously, like didn't see that coming. I'm like, the whole time we've been in pickleball, Selkirk has really not been doing anything. And I'm like, now I see a whole bunch of Selkirk boomsticks. And then bread and butter, I saw bread and butter paddles before, but now it's like there's a ton of locos, like just locos everywhere. Even saw someone with a blacked out loco today. I didn't even think those were sent out already, but I guess they are. So David, which one did you end up choosing out of those?
So I chose this because I didn't even know it was going to come out when it did. And I think this surprised most of the reviewers and also a lot of the customers just because no one knew this paddle existed. Like I think we had a slight idea of it maybe 2, 3 weeks in advance. And then all of a sudden, Bread and Butter launches the Loco, and it's like a very, very good performance paddle. Like, we all kind of thought Bread and Butter was just gonna like I expected them to do foam, but probably not until like either now or
Mm-hmm.
later in the year, but or sorry, or next year. Like I didn't expect them to like catch on to foam like before a lot of other companies did because they were coming out before the Quantas, they came out before Vatic, and they kind of came out at a surprising time. So it was just I knew they were gonna do it, but I just didn't think they would come out that early, and it surprised me a lot. So yeah, for me, bread and butter logos.
That that is true. I didn't think about that. Like in the past, they had taken all their time on coming up with new launches, and this one just like was like so fast. Like they were planning something else, and they're like, "Never mind, we're doing the locos," and boom, 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 boom. I just went with Luz just because I didn't know they were a company, and to have like paddles, just it's this year was hard to come into the market and get people to buy your paddles when you didn't have any name recognition.
Yeah.
So to come in, and I mean obviously having the UPAA approval also helped them. It's just like I it just was a big surprise to me to see so many people playing with Luz Infernos and cannons, and people asking me like, "Hey, you got that? You got that Inferno? You got it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." So that was my biggest surprise. Uh, Second would be that Loco, and then third would be the Boomstick. But yeah, it was a very interesting year for surprises. I'm sure
Yeah.
there was some more I didn't think about, but those ones were pretty big surprises. Uh, but yeah, moving on to this is a new category for us this year. I don't think anyone suggested this. I think I came up with it, but if you did suggest it, I'm sorry. Call me out in the comments. This one is the most stagnant company. And my thought process for this one is like, who just kind of like didn't do much this year in terms of innovation, paddle creation, like, and I would say you would have to have had a lot of success before, because you can't, no one's going to care about you stagnating if you didn't do anything before, right?
Yeah.
So for me, there's kind of like two big options. But David, did you have anything else besides the ones I threw out there?
No, those were the only ones I really thought about. Like if
Okay.
you're considering like, oh, you had to have been good in the past and just kind of stayed
Yeah.
stagnant. But yeah, what were
Okay.
your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So, first I was thinking about Yola, because their thing is like, hey, we're only doing one launch a year, right? We're only doing one big launch a year. And that worked for them in 2024 because no one could match their power. No one matched their power the whole year. And well, if you can't match the power, then like you're going to be able to stick around and do the same. But 2025 comes, they basically come out with a better 3S, but it's not much different like in terms of playability. So it's like they didn't really do much in that year, and then they just got lapped, right? They just got lapped by all these foam paddles, and their launch probably isn't coming out till usually like April, May. So like they better have a banger coming, because I've seen people be putting down their Yolas, and people were attached to their Yolas. But for me, it's paddle tech. Like obviously the Bantams were very popular, but dude, they come out with all they did this year, they come out with a hybrid shape. I mean, what? Like a hybrid shape in the same technology, that's all you do? That's I haven't seen too many paddle techs. They definitely been stagnating. Rumors are they lost Anna Lee to Nike. I don't know if that's
Oh,
true, but it makes sense. And if they lose Anna Lee, like who's using their paddle? And what's their next step? I don't know. But yeah, paddle tech for me. Is that who you also chose, or would you go
yeah.
YOLO?
I trust Pal, but Paltic still has
Okay.
Christian Alshon though. I think even if
Oh, is
Anna Lee
Elshon
does
still
it.
with him? Okay.
I think so. But yeah, I
Okay.
went with paddle tech because right now you'll still see people with Yolas there. Pros are still using it, and even in like the amateur play, like a lot of people just think that it is a great performance paddle, and I think arguably it is a better performance paddle than the paddle tech Bantams. So yeah, I'd have to go with paddle tech because base even though Yola also didn't really do much this year, I think their paddle was already good enough, and like the small changes that they did make to the Gen 3S in the Pro 4 still made it relevant that as of today, it's still a relevant like performance paddle. Whereas the
hmm
paddle tech, it's kind of been outshadowed by other paddles. Like, for example, the Phoenix is kind of seen as like a better version of the paddle techs. And
Hmm.
the sweet spot of the paddle techs just hasn't been great compared to modern releases. So they haven't really done much to really resolve that. And because of that, gonna have to go with the paddle techs for this year.
Yep. Better luck next year for them. Next up, this is a new category as well. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So usually you say that when like you start bad and then you finish good, but I think you can say that when you start good but you finish bad too, right? So anyway, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Shout out to Bots, cousin Bots, who loves that city. Anyway, this one came down to like people wanted me to do like they're like, oh, can you do a category of best first half paddles? But I'm like, yeah, we can do that, but in a different way. Because I mean, like, if you were really good in the first half, but no one's playing with it now, like, what does it matter?
Mhm.
So my nominations, I think there was kind of like some clear ones for this: the 11-6-24 Power Series and the Carbon True Foams were like the most popular paddles at the beginning of the year, right? And I
Yeah.
put in Spartus Olympus too, because I think that was still pretty popular, but not as popular as 11-6-20. There was 11-6-24s everywhere, right? So like that was one of the most common small brands to be seen, like 11-6-24, Carbon, first foam paddle got a ton of hype. Those paddles were everywhere. How many do you see when you go to the court these days?
I see one. I just saw one earlier, but yeah,
Yeah,
not that much as I used to before at the start of the year.
yeah. The only people I know that still are playing with 11-6-24 are people that just don't like changing the paddles or they like really like the feel. But I don't think there's a way you can say the performance is even it doesn't keep up, right? Like the power just doesn't keep up with the other paddles these days. And then Carbon, see more people with the Carbons. Like I guess it's just like you got to be a member of the Carbon cult, and you're just you're kind of in it. And some people just love the feel, which is fine. You can love that feel. The sweet spot just isn't good, and they're heavy for what they are, and they don't have as much power. So it's just like you have all these drawbacks. And for me, I'm like, hey, if you like the feel, you might want to just try a GX2 power and get more performance and sweet spot out of your paddle. That's all I'm thinking. But who'd you give it to?
I give it to Carbon. I would say 11.6.24 was they had a big splash at the beginning of the year, and I still think I personally think they're still relevant.
Yeah.
I think yes, their paddles are more powerful than it, but I still think even as of today, like you could still use this in a competition. Like it's more of
Oh
like
yeah.
a still like a more unique feel, and it's
Yeah.
still a good paddle, which is what I wouldn't say about Carbon. Like I think there are a lot of paddles that like outshine Carbon these days in terms of overall performance. And whereas I think the Lim 624 powers are still relevant. So I'm gonna give this one to Carbon. I think they made a big splash, and then the waves unfortunately just wasn't great. And the hype from the Carbon True Foams has kind of died down, especially with the rise of other companies doing foam better. So giving it to Carbon this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. I agree. I give it to Carbon as well. I agree with you. The 11-6-24 is still, the vapor power was one of my mains earlier in the year. So I mean, I could take that to a competition, no problem still. It just doesn't have as much juice. And then, like you said, the Carbons have just really fallen back in performance here. Uh, but anyway, moving on to best singles paddle of the year, which was kind of just a special request that we saw in the comments. So we'll throw that in there as I was playing a little bit more singles. We have some nominations here of the J7NF, a Boomstick, a Loco, a Black Opal. For me, I picked the Boomstick. I think it just gives you a lot of great firepower in singles, and that's what my second choice would be the Black Opal that I was playing with. Both just give you a ton of power, which is really helpful in singles. If you're having to generate all the power on your own, it's very tiresome. So, what one did you choose for the best singles paddle? I know you're out there grinding the singles courts.
I am not grinding the singles courts. I have not played singles in months, but I I feel like I would prioritize if I did play singles, I would probably prioritize reach a bit more than power, which is why I
Okay.
went with the J7 NF. I think, we all know that 0.01 inches matter, and with that
Yeah.
J7, just get that little bit more length. I used to like the J7K a lot when I actually wanted to shot that review back last year. I thought like I
Okay.
actually did that like based off of singles gameplay. And I liked how that felt there. So I feel like I would like the J7NF here. Like I did try that paddle out and I don't know. I haven't played singles with it, but I feel like if I had to go bring a paddle over to singles, probably be, what you suggested, like the boomstick and loco. But I would still have that J7NF in my bag
Okay.
as well, just for that
I could
reach.
see that. A little extra reach, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that one. So that is a good choice. Uh, Next up, Best Juniors Paddle, which was another request sent in, and helped kind of made me think about things a little bit differently too for some of the other categories. But Best Junior Paddle, I think it's these tempos. If your hands aren't
Yeah.
that big, these are so lightweight. Sweet spot's still pretty good. I would probably do the 16 if I were going to pick one, but the 14 is doable too. I think these are just really great. If you need something that's lightweight but still usable, these C45 tempos are really, really good. You could also use like a Quanta R2, but I would prefer this if that's what you're looking for, like the super light swing weight with a good sweet spot. That's what I would choose for my junior paddle if you're looking to get something for your kids and they're
Same
looking to
with
go
me.
competitive.
Also, C45 tempo. I think honorable mention would be to the Engage Pursuit Pro wide body. Um, I forget what's that series. Is it the 6.0? The lighter one.
I can't remember their names. Their naming scheme
Oh, the
just
Pursuit Pro one,
irritates
that's
me.
what it is. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Pursuit Pro,
Okay.
those are also like super lightweight, but
Okay.
Sweet Spot isn't as good as that compared to the C45, so that's why C45 tempo is going to come out on top there.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Uh, Next up, I mean, final category here, the most important category of the year, which would be the paddle of the year. There's been so many great paddles this year. Couldn't go through them all, but local hybrids, the boomsticks, the Luz Infernos, the NFs from Honolulu, uh, all the paddles we've talked about, right? I mean, just go down that list. The Enhanced Duo, so many paddles. But I think any other paddles you want to mention before we get into it, David?
I think you mentioned all the ones I was having under consideration.
Okay, you want to go first?
Yeah,
What's
I
your
went
paddle of the
with
year?
the J2 NF long handle. I think the NF series was really what made foam more popular. Like while Carbon was the one that really did it first, it was Honolulu coming out with the NF series that really popularized foam to be more in that performance realm. Just because the True Foam Genesis didn't hit that hard and the sweet spots weren't great, but then the NF series came out, better sweet spot, better power, better feel, or not, or arguably better feel, but I thought the J2NS were a great paddle, but then when they finally came out with the long handle version, that's when I really enjoyed it a lot more. They took
Mm-hmm.
away that like wider taper at the bottom and just giving you a little bit more handle length, made the paddle more customizable. So I think I joked around, well, not even joke around, but like I kind of gave some crap earlier about like how the J4Ks were a terrible shape. And it was just because at the beginning of the year they were kind of just randomly throwing things around, trying to see like what stuck with their technology. And at the end of the day, it was still the J2 that was the most popular. Um, but J2 in 2024 was probably the most, innovative shape at the time. And I think them just making the slight change with that long handle really improved it for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, so my paddle of the year is the J2NF. I went with the non long handle version, but like you were saying, I think that this just took over, right? Like it became a paddle you saw everywhere. It became the best iteration of the foam at the time, the best sweet spot at the time, and then with the long handle version, it gave you an option of, hey, do I want that longer handle? Or for me, I found like, especially as I started putting my finger up on the paddle for my two-hand backhand, I didn't need it as much, and I just think with like the lower swing weight this comes in, and the control with that sweet spot and enough power, it did everything for me. This was probably my longest main of the year as well. What I played Beer City with and all the other good stuff. I love this paddle. I even went out there with it this week just to confirm, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, maybe I should still be playing with this paddle because I just play so well with it. And so yeah, J2NF paddle of the year for for me, J2NF long handle for David. I also really like the J6NF. That so the whole NF series pretty good stuff, but like the the J2NF and the long handle and the J6NF specifically, those ones are really good. I haven't heard as many people loving the J3NF. I'm not a wide body player anymore, so it's not something I've you know in love with. But the J6NF too. If you want a power paddle that is like kind of just on the border end, but has a lot of control still, that one I really like. But yeah, it's been an interesting year. But the J2NF, it sealed the deal for me for just getting the most attention and doing things the best.
Yeah.
And that's all that we have for you on these best paddles for the year and all the different categories for the 2025 award. David, did you have any other awards you wanted to randomly throw out there?
Was I supposed to do which paddle is the Tickle My Pickle award?
Sure. I mean,
I wasn't sure
I
if that
didn't
was a
put it.
serious one.
Did I really put that down?
I forget. I think someone mentioned it, and I think we joked around about it, but I don't know if I was actually supposed
Sure.
to.
Why not add what tick what tickled your pickle the most, or just the tickle my pickle award?
Yeah, I think we were
Sure.
trying both just joking about like what would this award even be, and I think you were you the one that said like the one with the most grit because it would like tickle me the most, and
Okay,
then
now I remember this. This is
yeah,
what we were texting about this, right?
yeah,
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so which one is this the tickle my pickleball paddle of the year, or is this one the paddle that tickled your pickle the hardest or the
yeah,
most?
it's the latter.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I already chose my paddle of the year. I went with
Yeah.
the loco, so the one
Okay.
that tickled my pickle the most. I'm gonna go with the Gherkin Gen 3 Untitled because this was a paddle that was actually made specifically for people like me. And so the way I interpreted this award is like, okay, which paddle would I cuddle with me to bed? And I was like, okay,
Gotcha.
this one has the most sentimental feeling for me. So it's got to be the Gen 3
Very
Untitled.
nice. Yes,
Yeah.
made for what he's referring to is they only sent this to the co-host of the podcast. So the underrepresented, underserved community of co-hosts all got this untitled paddle that ended up becoming the race series.
Yeah.
But yes,
Never letting you
and
use this.
okay, well, so um, I guess that I know we were talking too. I think about like an all drive paddle of the year, but I don't know. It's kind of hard because I'm like I feel like I've mentioned all the paddles that could be considered. So
I thought you were going to go with the flick. I would have gone with the flick.
sure,
The
I'll go with the
F1.
flick for the all drive paddle of the year because that thing was just nasty. Like especially with how much pop it had, that thing uh, just yeah. So the all drive, if you're just looking to drive and you're looking to counter punch and flick the ball, speed up, go with the flick F1. Uh, yeah. So that's all we have. I mean, it's not like we're done for the year either. Now we're not signing off, but like just those are the best paddles and the best bags, the best categories that we had to offer. Let us know what you think we didn't include that's on your list, and I'll let you know if I agree or disagree. David, anything else? And we did do bad. Actually, we can use this time real quick to pick the winners of the giveaways because that would be something I could do right now. Let me
Yeah.
look here. So top three paddle. So I got one for the paddle predictions and one for something else. Okay, so do you want to pick the one from last week, and I will pick the one from 2 weeks ago that gave us nominations?
Yeah, do you want me to go through the comments?
Yeah, if you want to just look through the comments real quick.
All right, let me subscribe to your channel real quick.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So There was someone that suggested a good category, and I need to find it. Best surfer paddle of the year categories: underrated paddlers, sleeper paddle of the year, best athletic.
Oh yeah, I did the recipe one. Okay.
Oh yeah, recipe. Yeah, there actually were some people that actually went in depth with the recipe, but not too many. Some people just gave the food.
What is this? Someone just
So
commented NyQuil cherry flavor. Is that a thing?
yeah,
NyQuil
I
cherry.
don't. No, I don't. I think that was a joke, but
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna give it to Steve Hulse, who did the single specialized paddle of the year. Said he noticed from playing singles tournaments, I have different preferences from doubles because of different style, and they said that theirs would be a J6 FC Plus, which we didn't talk about the FC Plus, but also a very underrated paddle. The
Yep.
FC Plus is underrated. So Steve Hulse, send me an email and screenshot of your YouTube name, and we'll get that paddle out for you. I'll give you a couple different choices. What about those recipes?
Recipes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with this one from Katie Potts 23, who actually called it the Ape's Charm corn casserole. So she gets
Ooh,
extra points
pickleball
there. So
themed.
that yeah, it's pickleball themed, and it actually has all the measurements out here. So at Katie Potts 23, that's the winner I'm gonna pick for that one.
Okay, great. So send him an email. Uh, I think his email would be
That's in
in
my
his channel.
channel. Yeah.
You can, yeah, in his channel. If you go to Tickle My Pickleball, I always have a link in the description. So just go over there, and then for the giveaway this week, I'm going to do which winner pick did you agree with the most, and which one did you disagree with the most? Put that in the comments. Whoever has the best reasoning for disagreeing. So I guess you could just, but I want to see both. If you have a
Yeah.
really good, because I mean, you can't really have an amazing reason to agree, right? So put the agreement and then put your biggest disagreement. And whoever has the most convincing reason, it makes me think about changing my answer. David thinks about changing his answer. They're going to take home the next giveaway win. That's all I have. David, any final words?
Nothing for me right now.
All right, everyone have a great week and go play some pickleball.